Hey guys, welcome back to another Lore Olympus video. I am Dazzling Kate. For those who are new here, and welcome back for those who are old here. Anyways, today we're going to be talking about the laziness behind Lore Olympus. And what am I specifically going to be talking about? I'm going to be talking about the plot. I'm going to be talking about the character designs and the pacing. So, the first thing we're going to be talking about is the plot or deeper into the characters. More of the focus, and I get it, Persephone is the main character, but it just feels like everything can be resolved by her. Like every single thing revolves around her. If we like let's say cut to a part focusing on Thanatos or Eros or something, it then goes back to Persephone after a couple of chapters, even though Persephone has an ongoing issue that will require a lot more time to like be resolved, or doesn't need that much focus on it, the in between from point one to point B. Wait, no, no. Point one to point two. And I think when Rachel uses the side stories or the side characters to focus on the outside perspective of Persephone and Hades' relationship, she immediately goes back to Persephone and Hades after not enough time to let the side story or side characters develop outside of that. So it's a little confusifying as to why that happens. Oh my goodness. Okay. Just double checking on something. Anyways, another thing about the plot is that every time we think there's going to be a weak moment for Persephone, now everything feels like a whole fucking weak moment. You know how we're supposed to feel sorry for her because of what happened to her, or to how, everything bad keeps coming her way. And I get it. That's usually the way that we connect with the characters, is through bad moments or relatability to dealing with a mother or parental figure who controls you in so many ways than not, and dealing with a lot of other toxicity in the family. But it's just also like, what the hell? What the frickin' hell? There's there's not that much development for Persephone at all. Like, if you read not chapter 1, but if you read one of the episodes from season 1 and then read what's going on currently, you would notice she doesn't really change over time. She's still the same character, and I'm not saying that she should be totally freaking different. What I'm saying is that she should have some differences, especially in a 10-year period from between those seasons. So I don't necessarily understand how she should be staying the same, because it just feels like, oh, we're still in the same Persephone era where she's still 19 and being childish. And I'm all for, people being, immature as much as they want, or being as goofy as they want no matter what their age is. But what I'm trying to say is, why hasn't she developed a sense of responsibility or maturity since she's been given the role of her mother? Why haven't we seen any development from that? Oh, is it because she doesn't really necessarily develop over those 10 years? And I get it, they're gods. Some of those things take time to actually take effect, but it's also like, what the frick? What the frick? And then having Persephone being able to take down a Kronos, like, even though it took the original gods a longer time, but it just takes less than an hour for Persephone. I would have at least expected it would take several hours, or a couple of days. No, it's less than an hour. It's less than a frickin' hour. which I don't get. I don't understand. Where is this going? I don't know. And yeah, that's the laziness behind that, is that we don't really get too much development for any of the characters. The only character I think actually has the most strongest change and notability to be different from her first, her first appearance would have to be Minthe. But there's not much else. Maybe Thanatos. I don't know, because comparing all the characters to one another, there's not enough information for some of these other side characters. But yeah, let's move on to the character designs, which I'm going to take a sippy sip and then I will explain. All right, so the character designs. Why does everybody have the same body type? If I didn't know better, if I didn't know better, it's the art's good to some extent. That's another problem I will discuss a little later, because it does connect to this. It's it's so freaking similar. You can't tell the difference between some goddesses, some gods, and it's the color is the only distinguish part that can give you a difference. Other than that, there's not much else going on. And then there's like, I know it was like, which one was it? Hastia. She keeps going to skinny, curvy, skinny, like, or maybe that's also Persephone. I'm probably confusing the two. I'm sorry. I know they're not the same color, but I know both of them have a different body type. But then it's like, next thing we know, it's just, oh wow, now she's suddenly curvy. Now she's suddenly this. Now it's what is it? Which is it? Are we gonna have her be curvy, or are we gonna have her be skinny? You have to pick one. You can't have them both ways. And even looking at the some of these elements of character design, there's not really enough to distinguish, like, say, Daphne with Persephone, other than Daphne having blue spots, well, blotches, blobs on her. That's the only difference there is between the two. And even their personalities kind of mesh together. It's just like, what makes them different? What makes them different? Why? Why? There's nothing holding them apart, okay? There's nothing. And that's what kind of pisses me off, because there's not really anything keeping some characters apart from each other. I mean, look at Hastia. I think she's gotten a little lighter over the like past several chapters. She's gotten a little lighter and she looks similar to Hera. So sometimes, like, I may or may not mistake one of those two for each other, but then it's just like, oh, if you look at their body types, Hastia is a little chubbier, just a little bit, just a little bit. It's like, can we get some different characteristics for these characters, because it just feels like everybody is the fucking same. And again, I'm not trying to say, it's bad to be this, good looking, but it's just like also confusing to, like, the only difference again being the colors that they use. And this is another thing I'm kind of confused about. Now hear me out. Why is it that we have these, like, okay, Hades is the first character I can think of who is a little different than his brothers, in the extent that he has a lighter whitish colored hair, red eyes. With the other characters, it's different. Hera has blue eyes, a yellow body. and so on and so forth with some of the characters. There are those little key differences to make them a little different, a little bit. And then it's just, I feel like it's oftentimes thrown out the window because it's just like we could get away with a lot of colorful concepts. Like I've seen better designs, fan designs from, the fans of Lore Olympus. There was this one design I remember seeing of Aphrodite that looked so beautiful. Then what we ended up getting with this ugly shade of purple. I'm sorry for anyone who likes that shade of purple. I just don't understand, why did she have to have this lavender lilac color chosen for her to be used, and we couldn't get something with a more elegant kind of like like something that makes her stand out. And I get it, purple makes you stand out because royalty, but you can also get away with that like whatever the fuck you want. Oh my goodness. Anyways, as I was saying, as I was saying, I'm just saying that there could be a lot more color in the characters. I get it. It's quick to do these like sketches. It's quick to color them in. You don't have to worry too much about adding an additional color, but it's also like, why couldn't the gods and goddesses just have a distinct feature? Like I said before, there was that Aphrodite design that gave that was based off of bubbles, and she had this like silver blue-ish color to her, and also this, I gotta actually look it up because oh my goodness, it's impressive. Okay, so there was that distinct design that I saw. Oh my goodness. I know it was somewhere because I want to describe it to you guys, and I'm sure one of you guys probably recognizes it. I can't show it on the screen because I do not have my camera on, but it was so pretty. It was so pretty. Again, some people may think, "Oh, it's like it's not that bad to like have her be purple," but it's just, to me it didn't really fit in with her, especially when the colors would flip off and on. Like one moment she would be this, and it was actually periwinkle purple. Okay, lilac, whatever. And then it would have a pinkish tone to it, and it's like, what the fuck? What are we doing here? What are we doing here? Oh man, but it's so pretty. But okay, I guess I cannot find it, which, okay, fine by me. I guess we'll just skip along and not talk about it too much. But I've seen better freaking design. Like Thydius. Thydius had a very pretty distinguished design because of the blue and gray used with her. And I don't know what's wrong. Like, I would probably expect the full colored tones from like the nymphs. And I'm not saying the nymphs should not have that. It's just I'm using that as an example. But you would have better luck trying to give more of a pretty shade fading into a different color kind of thing going on with some of these characters, because a lot of the time, again, they don't look that different from one another, and that's it makes them blend in. And I can't tell you enough times where I've mistaken Persephone for like Daphne, or even Aphrodite from time to time in the earlier chapters when I was just getting into it. That was a problem for me, and I hated it so freaking much. Like, ugh. It's just really ridiculous because no matter what anyone could do, it's mm, mm. We haven't exactly seen too many body types. I just it really makes me annoyed. Is all. I'm just with not that differences of body types. It's just like everyone looks the fucking same, especially when like you can get away with them looking somewhat the same if this was fully colored. Then you would have all these different. Sorry about that. Just was caught in like the last of the moments because I was just thinking about the designs a little bit. Anyways, what else was I about to say because it was important? Because I know there was a lot more going on. Oh, yeah. When I was saying the colors in similar body types, okay, you can get away with doing that sometimes when you had colors added to the design. You can't get away with that if some of these characters have a lighter shade of pink or a lighter shade of blue and they look very similar to each other. You can't tell the difference. You got to add a little more additional details into that. Otherwise, you're fucking up. You're fucking up. Again, this is coming from someone who also does designs and art. And I get it, everyone's different, but you want to make it easier for again, sorry about that. Every time it's just like either I get a message or I get called out for a minute and now I'm just like I can't remember where I was at. But in general, designs need to have more details and more differences between them to prevent readers from confusing the characters. That's all you need to do is make it different enough to keep the characters from not looking identical to the nymphs. Like I've seen a few nymphs already looking similar to Persephone and it pisses me off so much. And it doesn't make it better that Luce is also another Persephone looking character. I don't understand how difficult it is to make a fucking simple design with different colors. Why is it difficult? And especially in a sense where it's just like, why do they necessarily need to be the same color? Like, if we're basically going in and using the same colored schemes for, you know, like I'm thinking about Hercules, the Disney movie, and they did that. They used similar colors that would work well and balance out the characters and make it so it didn't give the characters two identical looks to other characters. I mean, Hera didn't look like any of the other female goddesses, so clearly enough, if you just put a little effort into it and design them in a way where it made them look a lot different, like the silhouette practice is something I recommend for everybody when you're making a distinct design. I've done this a couple of times in my other courses. You basically try and make a distinguished design based off of an image. You add a little more details to it, and then you start filling in these like colors, or you do it in a black and white sketch. Basically, black blob, add in details, make character. That's the best way I can explain it. but you could actually see a difference between the first original image that you based the pose on to what you came up with. So I don't really understand why it's so difficult to make, because if you put like all of these characters in shadow form or blink ink blob form, nobody's gonna know who the fuck anyone else is. That's how bad a lot of these designs are. You can't have them being super similar. You can't. Okay, so the final thing we're going to be talking about in this is the pacing. The pacing is freaking infuriating. I cannot stand the pacing. I hate it. I hate it. It's like, oh, season 1 took place over a month or 2 months or whatever. And then it's just like, oh, how the fuck did she fall in love for 2 months? You didn't have that much. I don't get it. And then a 10-year period where at that point, maybe Persephone would have forgotten about Hades, but no. She still remembers. She still remembers. Okay, got it. And it still picks up right where it left off, and it pisses me off. It pisses me off. The pacing just it's a la di da going everywhere. I expect focus, like high detailed focus on, day by day or week by week through, books with words, all only words. That way you get an understanding. Hey, this takes place on day 4. This takes place on day 36. Blah blah blah. You get the picture. But when it's a graphic novel, you are allowed to skip. You are allowed to time skip wherever you want. Well, not wherever you want, but at least save us the trouble of dealing with every single detail you have to hear about in these stories, because nobody wants to know every single detail. If they want to, go make a normal novel of the book, okay? If you want to do that, Rachel, that's an easier method than just putting a lot of time into every single and like it just feels like, especially recently when they've introduced a baby into the mix after 2 days of the Persephone and Hades being married, it's just like, what the fuck? And I get it, it's most likely Zeus's fuck up, but I'm also like, why do we necessarily need this? Like, can't we just move on from this and go on to a different part of their life? Like, maybe wait, like, skip several months or something to kind of get things into order. But no, we have to know every single detail, as well as wasting time to get to it. And I guess it's just to fill in the fan service of, oh, now they're a cute parent couple, cause cute baby, blah, blah, blah. I don't understand it either. It's just ridiculous. The pacing, the character designs, the story itself, and the evolution of the characters, they just don't go anywhere. They're lazy. It's just the only thing there to really prove anything that it's a good concept, just not executed as such. Anyways, guys, I am done for today. I will see you guys in another video, probably next week, for another Lore Olympus video. So stay safe, stay cool, and stay hydrated. This is Dazzling Kate, signing the hell out of here.